G'day, today we're doing a service on a Mitsubishi Outlander 2012 model, and it's got the CVT 6-speed transmission in it, 4-wheel drive, the JF011E transmission, or the also known as the W1CJA. So we're going to just suck out the oil out of the filler tube as usual, or you can drain it at the bottom at the pan. And in this one the customer's complaining, saying there's a bit of a power issue or a lag when they take off, so we'll just do a quick scan on it too. The ABD port's just over here where my finger is, just above the brake pedal. And we'll just do a quick scan on it. It's done. Can't focus on that. 209,000 kilometres, and it doesn't look like the transmission's ever been serviced. So there's no codes there on the generic scan. And no fault codes found. I'm going to quickly just blow out all around where we're going to take the pan off. And if you don't have a vacuum pump, you can just take the drain plug out. Make sure it's not too hot. The pan off, you can see the filter there. Just let that drain a little bit. And we can also see the selector there. Sometimes that nut will loosen off on those. You can't really see too much other than the filter there unless you take the valve body down. I'll just let that drain a little bit. You can see where the magnet was sitting, it's magnetised that bolt a bit as well. And we've got the pan. You can see the two magnets are doing a great job there. After, I'll just probably put them up on that ridge there just so the bottom of the magnet can work as well. But it doesn't look too bad for a CVT transmission. And I've popped the filter out. You can see there's two shorter bolts and one longer bolt. And if you have a look in the pan there where the suction is, you can see all that fine metal in there. So that's why it's quite important or better to actually take the pan off and replace that filter. You can flush them out, but what happens, a lot of that muck gets accumulated right in there. And because CVTs create a fair bit of metal from that drive belt, or the metal drive belt, it's a good idea to actually take the pan off instead of just taking the plug out. And I'll show you another reason why it's a good idea to take the pan off. And if you have a look where the drain plug is here, it's about 2 centimetres up from the bottom of the pan. So any muck that's accumulating in here in the bottom of the pan isn't going to come out of there when you take the plug out. As well as being able to clean up those magnets. The cleaner you keep the transmission and the cooler you keep it, the longer it lasts. So choice is yours. We always remove the pan if there is a pan and replace the filters. I've cleaned the pan up, cleaned the magnets, and you can see I've put them up on that little dimple there and this one there. Important to also test that it's not in the way of any selector linkage or solenoid or anything like that. You don't want the magnet sticking to the solenoid and magnetising it all the time either. And also you want to make sure that it can the pan can be bolted properly without that hitting the valve body. Another thing I'd like to show you is you can see the pan gasket. And if you have a look, there are two different types. one little corner there, just that's the only difference there. You can see I've put the original one that suits on the bottom, line those holes up, and you can see this one has got the hole just a little bit offset, just to make things more interesting for you. So just make sure you get the right pan gasket or your job's going to be delayed. And if you count the holes in the pan, this one's got 18 holes and the other one's got 19 holes. The two little holes there, they're just for the locating pins, just there and there. And the filter, you want to make sure you get the right snorkel on it, or the pickup. This particular one is 14mm pickup, and you can see it suits a Jeep or a Mitsubishi. You can see the Nissan, they have a 23mm pickup. And make sure, as always, that the O-ring's on there. Otherwise you're getting distraught. And you can see that one looks very similar to the old one. And before I've just bolted it on, I've noticed this magnet hits something. If I put it on, this one can stay like that. You can see it's up in the air on that dimple there and resting against that little plate on the drain hole. This one will have to just sit there like that. It is hitting something, and this one actually has taken a big bump, so I've straightened out that pan a little bit. Important not to try and change the shape of it, otherwise you won't be able to bolt it up properly. Now we've got the new filter all back on, cleaned everything. I've checked this selector that sometimes works its way loose, and you can see the little pins that locate that pan seal or pan gasket. Make sure you've got the O-ring on the filter, and that's basically it. We'll just check the wiring loom's not loose or anything like that. Okay, we've got the pan back on, and this is a four-wheel drive one, so it's a good idea to check the unis, center bearing, another uni. Just check your drive shafts or anything that's out of place. It had a big ding in the pan, so it's also a good idea to just make sure nothing else is out of shape or rattling around or hitting where it shouldn't be hitting. Alright, I'm going to put it down, put some oil in. These also have an inline filter in the cooling line, and to get access to it, I don't know if you can just see it, I'll just poke it there with the dipstick, just that little unit there, and you've got to just pull it out that way. Got to remove all this stuff or the little guard underneath the vehicle to get it out. And that just like a little filter cartridge. You can see there'll be an O-ring there. But we're not going to do it on this one this time around. Good idea at every second service to replace that one as well, especially if there's a lot of metallic debris or any debris in the pan. That you can see it's not very big, it can get blocked pretty easily. We're just on the Tritech lubricant site, and where are we? Manual, there we go. The CVT10. That service refill, I think that could even be completely empty anyway. 7 litres. 13 dry fill, capacity only shown. That's the stuff we're going to use on this one. The ATF CVT 10 full synthetic. Okay, we're back from a test run. We ended up putting about 6.5 litres of fluid in. Hard to tell with that little pump there, but I think it's about 6.5 litres. And taken out for a test run. On these, some CVT transmissions, they have a flow valve. So you need to get them up to, I think, 80 degrees before that valve opens and purges any air in that cooling circuit. So if you replace the filter cartridge, you want to make sure you get it right up to operating temperature before you check the fluid level. Otherwise, when it does warm up and purges all the air out of that system, you'll be low on fluid. The lagging problem, I think, is attributed to just the age of the transmission or what it's been doing. There are no fault codes, but fault codes only, or computers only register fault codes that are outside the electrical parameters. If the solenoids are leaked, that won't record a fault code. So I believe that's probably what's happening in this situation, and also having all that fine metal circulating through the whole thing has probably contaminated the coils in the solenoids and reduced the magnetic fields, which cause the solenoids to not operate as effectively. But anyway, regular servicing on these is critical on the CVTs because of that metallic belt in there creates a fair bit of debris. Anyway, hope that's been informative and helped. Thank you for watching.